One of the biggest fear I used to have is the fear of people's opinion, the fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, that people will laugh at me, people won't like me, all these things. And it was extremely crippling, and it was extremely pressuring, and it was extremely daunting because it blocked me, prevent me, hold me back from doing so many things, right? Because I would always be afraid. What would people think? What if I do that? And what would they say that? And what if they don't like me? And what if they judge me and reject me? And it becomes so pressuring, and we can live in a world of limitation because we give so much importance to what people would think. And it's so unconscious, and it's so deeply embedded in all of us because we all have a deep need to feel important, to feel significant, to be liked, to be seen. And what is the opposite of that? Well, the opposite is feeling disliked, rejected, unliked, judged, right? It triggers that shame, it triggers that guilt, it triggers that fear and that embarrassment that is extremely difficult for us to feel and to process. Yeah? Nobody likes losing face. Nobody likes feeling like a piece of shit or a nobody. Yeah, let's be honest. But we have to realize that those emotions are natural and they're human, and there's no way we can please everybody, and it's not our responsibility to do that as well. And so one of the biggest lessons I had to learn on my journey of like social confidence, because I was extremely timid, extremely insecure. I was your classic nice guy for so long. Like making a video like this would have been unthinkable even like more than 10 years ago, absolutely unthinkable, let alone doing public speaking that I do now and talking with so many clients from all over the world and so on. Completely unimaginable, right? For me to just be the center of attention, for me to just stand up in my class and answer the question of the teacher was already something that freaked me out the most. Yeah. So I come a very long way because I had to free myself from a lot of the fears, from a lot of the insecurity, from a lot of my own identity that was completely rooted in fear, in low self-esteem and so on. But there's some key lesson that I've learned along the way that have helped me break free those boundaries, that have helped me break free from that social jail I was like, that social isolation, that social jail that I was like living in by giving too much importance to people's opinion. And I remember, for example, the first video I've made on Facebook way back when Facebook videos were going viral and were becoming a thing, I was like, oh, this would be great for my business, right? The challenge is that I didn't know anything about making videos. I was afraid. I was like, what are people gonna think? And people are gonna see me like that. And what if nobody likes it? And what if nobody watch it? So it took me the longest time for me to just get the idea of like, I should make a video, right? And then when I started making videos, I would watch the video back and I would be like, oh my God, those videos suck. Look at my voice, look at this, look at the background, look at the intro. Like it's bad, let me try again, let me do it better. Let me post it when it's perfect, right? Or when I feel ready. And so you feel it 2 months later, I still wasn't ready. The video was still not perfect, but I was procrastinating. I was playing it safe until one day I realized like enough. If I don't face the fear, meaning if I don't face the fear, I will never be free from it. So I decided to make a video, post it, and see what happened. But it wasn't that easy because I made a video that was holy shit, and I posted it, and then I left my phone and I went to Starbucks to get a Starbucks and to completely disconnect because I was freaked out by what would people say, or what if nobody watched it, or what if it fails miserably, right? But I went home a few hours later and I looked at my phone and it was actually very supportive. You know, people were liking it, some people even commented on it. It was actually very well received. But the most important here is to realize that the first thing you have to realize is that the fear of being rejected, disliked, and judgment and so on will never go away until you face that fear and you do the thing that you're afraid of. And that can be posting a video online, showing up authentically, expressing yourself, or wearing what you want to wear, or just being yourself. That can come up in so many different ways. I'm sure right now there are things that you wanted to do, that you want to experience, that you want to go and do, that you don't want to do because you don't want to do it alone, or you don't want to be different, or you don't want to be rejected, or you don't want people to judge you. For example, I used to be afraid to go to the cinema alone or to eat alone because I thought people would see me as a loser or lousy or no friend or things like that, right? So I would avoid doing all those things that I thought people would judge me for. So you can see how much limitation we can place on ourselves simply because of what will people say. And I'm telling you, as long as you're not facing that fear will have power over you. And as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, when you do the thing you're afraid to do, then you will have the power. The challenge is that we wait for the power, for the certainty, for the confidence, for the fear to be gone, and then I'll do it. And that will never happen. Fear is part of the process. Fear is part of the journey of being a human being. And when you do something over and over and over again, like for me now, I've made so many videos, I've speak on so many stages, I've done so many of those things that I don't care so much, right? It doesn't mean that I don't get nervous, that I don't get anxious before and so on when it's a big presentation or whatever, but that's human, that's normal. You get to accept that emotion, you get to realize that I feel it, but it doesn't define who I am and what I get to do. But as long as fear has power over you, it will define you, and it will have power and control over your decisions and your life. So the first thing is stop waiting, do the thing, and you will have the power. And the second thing is ironically one of the most liberating things, right? And this is something you probably heard many, many times, is that people don't give a shit about you, right? I mean, sure, there's people who love you, who care for you, who are there for you, who are great friends and lovers or whatever, but genuinely, people don't give a shit about you. Right? Nobody cares if you're at the cinema alone or eating alone, or if you're this, or if you're wearing those new shoes that you think everybody's gonna see them, or reflect on that new outfit that you bought that doesn't fit your current style, or that new haircut that you made. Nobody gives a shit, because everybody's busy worrying about other people judging them. And this is the weirdest thing, is that we spend so much time, and this is such a universal fear, that people are so self-absorbed in their own life, their own problem, their own fear, their own aspiration, their own thing and situation, that they don't have time to focus on you. And the little time they have sometimes doesn't last. And you can see that for even people who go viral, right? They become overnight celebrity and so on, and then everybody's focus is on them. What happens the moment people start focusing on something else? That person dissolves, you stop completely caring. And the sad reality is that even for people who are extremely close for you, the moment you stop giving your attention to them, they dissolve from your mind, because you only entertain in your mind what you focus on habitually and repeatedly. So even if you've lost some very close people in your life that you absolutely love, how often do you actually think and focus on them? Very little. Right? So how many of your friends and colleagues, or all colleagues and co-workers, can you even remember consciously? This is just to prove that we don't care about people as much as we think we do, and vice versa. And when you realize that most people on Instagram, or in the world, or in your work, or in your environment, are focused on themselves first and foremost, and then on their family and close ones, and they have so little bandwidth about you, it can be the most freeing things in the world. Because if you realize that people don't have time to care about you, nor do they really care about you, then why you worry in the first place? Does that make sense? Why do you even care? Why do you spend so much time caring about people who really don't care about you? And this is something I really invite you to entertain, because it can be very freeing. The more you contemplate it, and you be like, who am I really afraid that will judge me in this situation? Let's say you want to post a video, or you want to wear that new outfit, or you want to do that new thing, right? But you're afraid of being judged. Ask yourself, who specifically am I afraid will judge me? Like that random person in the street that I don't know anything about, or my friends on Facebook, or my coworkers, or my family, or my current friend, or my partner. Like, who specifically do I think will judge me for this? Because the moment you just ask that question, who specifically, you already have to think. And sometimes you feel like, well, I'm not sure who will judge me, because my friend, if I'm honest, I don't think they will judge me. I think they won't care, or they'll be supportive, right? My coworker probably won't even notice. And people in the street, like, whatever. Does that make sense? So just realizing that people don't have time for you because they're so focused on their own life. And on top of that, if you ask yourself, who am I really worried that they will judge me? And are those people actually important to me? Do I actually care about them and their opinion? Answering that question can really dissolve a lot of the fear. But like I told you earlier, the fear will not go away until you do the thing you're afraid to do. When you combine those two experiences together, because they're really experiences, right? This is not something you simply listen on YouTube, reading a freaking book, or on a quote somewhere, and you're like, yeah, cool, sounds great, right? This is something you have to experience. You have to decide that I'm gonna do it, I wanna do it, I think it's good for me, I'm gonna go for it, right? And then when you start to go through the process of being like, okay, if I go to the movie alone, like, who do I think will judge me or laugh at me? And then you may be like, nobody. Or maybe the person sitting next to me, or the people at the cinema, and be like, do I even know those people? No. So why do I care? So let's go. Do you see that? So the process here is to help you alleviate your fear so that you can finally break free and have the power by doing the thing that you're afraid to do. And when you do that thing continuously over and over and over again, you realize that the old fear dissolves, because it's like a muscle. The more you do something, the more you're gonna come to conclusion that, it was so much easier, it was so much better, and I actually get a high because now I did something I really wanted to do. So it adds some novelty, some experience in my life and who I am. And this is a powerful process to break free from the fear of what people think, being humiliated, all these things, and ultimately become socially confident. Because to become socially confident, or to be a good speaker or a good communicator, requires experience, requires a lot of repetition. If you want to be a better communicator than another person, you got to be able to communicate more than them. That's how you learn. The more you do it, the more you do it, the more you do it, the better you get. Yeah. So I hope this video makes sense, guys, because this fear is something that exists in your mind that you feed through your attention. And the moment you realize those two things we talked about and you act on it, you can turn that fear around, and now you can get the power and you can set yourself free. Let me know what you think down in the comment. As always, guys, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.